Welcome to English literature class, my dear students of class 12. Please open page number 110 and here you will find the lines. Klausner sat down beside the telephone and waited. Now let's start from here. Klausner sat down beside the telephone and waited. He tried to remember what the shriek of the tree had sounded like, but he couldn't. He could remember only that it had been enormous, huge, and frightful, and that it had made him feel sick with horror. He tried to imagine what sort of noise a human would make if he had to stand anchored, tied. If a human being is tied to the ground, while someone deliberately, willingly swung a small sharp thing at his leg so that the blade cut in deep and wedged itself in the cut. He thought. Same sort of noise, perhaps? No. Quite different. The noise of the tree was worse than any known human noise because of that frightening, toneless, throatless quality. He began to wonder about other living things, and he thought immediately of a field of wheat standing up straight and yellow and alive. He thought about that, with the mower going through it, cutting the stems, 500 stems a second, every second. Oh my God, what would that noise be like? 500 wheat plants screaming together, and every second another 500 being cut and screaming. And no, he thought, I do not want to go to a wheat field with my machine. I would never eat bread after that. But what about potatoes and cabbages and carrots and onions? And what about apples? Ah, no, apples are all right if you let them fall off instead of tearing them from the tree branch, but not vegetables. He thought that he would take an apple if it falls from the branches, but not vegetables. Not a potato, for example. A potato would surely shriek, scream. So would a carrot and an onion and cabbage. So on. He heard the click of the front gate latch, and he jumped up and went out and saw the tall doctor coming down the path, little black bag in hand. Well, the doctor said, what's all the trouble? Come with me, doctor, I want you to hear it called you because you are the only one I have told. It is over the road in the park. Will you come now? The doctor looked at him. He seemed calmer now, quiet now. There was no sign of madness or hysteria. He was merely disturbed and excited. They went across the road into the park, and Klausner led the way to the great beech tree, at the foot of which stood the long black coffin box of the machine and the axe. Why did you bring it out here? The doctor asked. I wanted a tree. There aren't any big trees in the garden, so I came here. And why the axe? You will see in a moment. But now please put on these earphones and listen. Listen carefully and tell me afterwards precisely what you hear. Clearly what you hear. I want to make quite sure. The doctor smiled and took the earphones and put them over his ears. Klausner bent down and hit with a sudden movement the switch on the panel of the machine. Then he picked up the axe and took his pose, with his legs apart, ready to swing. For a moment he paused. Can you hear anything? He said to the doctor. Can I? What? Can you hear anything? Just a humming noise. Klausner stood there with an axe in his hands, trying to bring himself to swing. But the thought of the noise that the tree would make made him pause again. He wanted to hit, he wanted to make a gash, he wanted to hit uh, the trunk of the tree. But every time he thought about screaming and shrieking of the tree, so every time he paused. What are you waiting for? The doctor said. Nothing, Klausner answered, and then he lifted the axe and swung it at the tree. And as he swung, he could swear he felt a movement of the ground on which he stood. There was movement on the ground, he felt. He felt a slight shifting of the earth beneath his feet as though the roots of the tree were moving underneath the soil. But it was too late to check the blow, and the axe blade struck the tree and wedged deep into the wood. At that moment, high overhead, there was the cracking sound of wood splintering, shattering, and swishing, making a soft sound. Sounds of leaves brushing against other leaves, and they both looked up. And the doctor cried, Watch! Watch out! Run, man! Quickly run! Doctor had ripped. Ripped means here torn partly of the earphones, pulled away forcefully the earphone, and was running away fast. But Klausner stood spellbound, staring up at the great branch, 60 feet long at least, that was bending slowly downward, breaking and crackling and splintering, and its thickest point where it joined the main trunk of the tree. The branch came crashing down, and Klausner leaped aside just in a time. It fell upon the machine and smashed it into many pieces. Very bad incident. Great heavens, shouted the doctor as he came running back. That was a near one. I thought it had gone at you. I thought it had got you. I thought that it fell upon you. Klausner was staring at the tree. His large head was leaning to one side, and upon his smooth white face there was a tense, horrified expression. Slowly he walked up to the tree and gently he pried the blade loose from the trunk. Did you hear it? He said, turning to the doctor. His voice was barely audible. The doctor was still out of breath from the running and the excitement. Hear what? In the earphones. Did you hear anything when the axe struck? The doctor began to rub the back of his neck. Well, he said, as a matter of fact, he paused and frowned and bit his lower lip. No, I'm not sure. I couldn't be sure. I don't suppose I had the earphones on for more than a second after the axe struck. Yes, but what did you hear? I don't know, the doctor said. I don't know what I hear. Probably the noise of the branch breaking. He was speaking rapidly, rather irritably. He became very irritable. What did it sound like? Klausner leaned forward slightly, staring hard at the doctor. Exactly what did the sound like? Oh hell! The doctor irritated, annoyed. The doctor said, I really don't know. I was more interested in getting out of the way. Let's leave it. The doctor scoffed. What did it sound like? For God's sake, how could I tell? What with half the tree falling on me and having to run for my life? I wanted to escape myself. I wanted to save myself. The doctor certainly seemed nervous. Klausner had sensed it now. He stood quite still, staring at the doctor, and for fully half a minute he didn't speak. The doctor moved at his feet, shrugged his shoulder, and half turned to go. Well, he said, we had better get back. Look, said the little man, and now his smooth white face became suddenly suffused, spread all over with color. Look, he said, you stitch this up. You stitch the wound. He pointed to the last gash, last cut that X had made in the tree trunk. You stitch this up quickly. Don't be silly, the doctor said. You do as I say. Stitch it up. Klosner was gripping the axe handle and he spoke softly in a curious, almost a threatening tone. Don't be silly, the doctor said. I can't stitch through wood. Come on, let's get back. So you can't stitch through wood? No, of course not. Have you got any iodine in your bag? What if I have? Then paint the cut with iodine. It will sting, but that can't be helped. Now look, the doctor said, and again he turned as if to go. Let's not be ridiculous. Don't let us get back to the house and then paint the cut with iodine. The doctor hesitated. He saw Klosner's hand tightening on the handle of the axe. He thought that he would hit him. He decided that his only alternative was to run away fast, and he certainly wasn't going to do that. He was unable to run, as he got fear uh, uh, from the axe of Klosner. All right, he said, I will paint it with iodine. He got his black bag and was lying on the grass about 10 yards, opened it and took out a bottle of iodine and some cotton wool. He went up to the tree trunk, uncorked the bottle, tipped some of the iodine onto the cotton wool, bent down and began to apply it into the cut. He kept one eye on Klosner, who was standing motionless with the axe in his hands, watching him. Make sure you get it right in. Yes, the doctor said. Now do the other one just above it. The doctor did it as he was told. There you are, he said. It's done. He straightened up and surveyed his work in a very serious manner that should do naturally. Klosner came closer and gravely, very seriously, examined the two wounds. Yes, he said, nodding his huge head slowly up and down. He is satisfied. Yes, that will do nicely. He stepped back a pace. You will come and look at them again tomorrow. Oh, yes, the doctor said, of course, and put some more iodine on. If necessary, yes, I'll do. Thank you, doctor, Klosner said, and he nodded his head again and dropped the axe, and all at once he smiled a wild, excited smile. And quickly the doctor went over to him and gently he took him by the arm and said, come on, we just go now. And suddenly they were walking away, the two of them walking silently, rather hurriedly across the park, over the road, back to the house. And this is the end of the story. Students, you write down the summary and the theme and the character of Klosner. Read it, study it, and if there is any problem, please ask me. You are always welcome. Thank you so much.